What is up, everybody? Adam here. And this is the final episode of season 2. That's why I'm coming at you. It's hard to believe that we've made it to the end of the year, but here we are. I wanted to give a quick shout out to everyone who listened along with us this year. Y'all make this work so rewarding. So thank you. Now, to this episode. This episode you're about to hear is a year in review of sorts. Heather and I look back on this plague year. That's what we're calling it, a plague year. We look back on this plague year and we try to pull out some of the best stuff that bubbled to the surface. As difficult as this year has been, there's lots of good too, and we can't let the sadness have the last word. I should also point out that for whatever reason, I shout a lot during this episode. I guess it was the caffeine. I got all jacked up on pour-overs, and it came through the microphone a little bit. So, if me yelling a little bit more than normal is a problem for you, then please accept my apology. All right, I think that's it for the preamble. Onward. See you in the new year. Peace.
You're listening to the Ferment podcast, conversations about worship and transformation. Today we have another edition in our conversation series with Adam and Heather Russell.
The Ferment. What up, everybody? You're listening to the Ferment podcast, and this episode is called Plague Year in Review.
Yes, it is.
That's right. This is the Plague Year in Review, and my wife, Heather, is with me. Welcome to the podcast, Heather.
Thanks. Hi, everybody.
Yeah, so what we want to do here is we want to review the Plague Year 2020. It's been a plague year. Listen to our virologist.
Is that how you say that word?
I don't know. Is it virologist or virologist?
I don't know.
But that sounds like virility, which sounds like maybe we're talking about something else.
Okay. This is starting great.
I listened to a virus doctor last week, and it wasn't super encouraging. Even with the vaccine stuff, it sounded like the plague year might turn into the plague years. Anyway.
So this is plague year number 1 in review.
That's right. We're reviewing a plague year. I've never done that before. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about some of our favorite things from the plague year.
That's good, because mostly if you hear the term the plague year, you're going to think of really terrible things.
That's right.
We thought we'd hit some highlights.
That's right. And by the way, there have been some terrible things, right?
Oh, so bad.
We could do the lowlights.
We could.
But we're not really going to do much of the lowlights. We're going to do some of the highlights, if that's cool with everybody.
Yeah, in the spirit of the week of Thanksgiving.
That's right. It's a couple days before Thanksgiving, and we want to maybe throw a little highlight here and there.
I like it.
All right, so hey, let's start here, if it's okay. Why don't we start with this, Bay? Why don't you tell me your favorite podcast moments from this podcast?
This podcast.
Yes,
okay.
This very, very important podcast, my podcast, the Ferment podcast. Tell me your favorite Ferment moments from the plague year.
Well, I don't really listen to this. I'm just kidding. I listen to all of them.
That's right.
But reviewing them, oh my goodness, it feels like a million years ago in January, like looking at the 2020 podcast. But here's my top moments that jumped out at me.
Okay.
I loved the Edgar King episode.
Edgar, shout out to Africa.
Oh my goodness, it
shout
was
out
so
to
good.
Kenya. Shout out to Edgar.
I mean, I'm an Edgar fan anyhow.
That's right.
But that episode was so good. So much life in there.
Okay, so wait just a second.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I, we both like Edgar.
Yeah.
So that's reason enough to like it. But was there some other reason why you enjoyed that particular episode?
I don't know. I just loved the vibe of it, the life that he brought forth, like the energy. It was just great.
It is funny. If you don't know Edgar, I'll tell you this. And I haven't spent tons of time with Edgar, but I've spent enough with him because you kind of get to know someone when you're with him just a little bit. Edgar he's just a smiling person.
Yeah. And you could feel that.
Yeah, I think so. It came through in that episode.
Yeah. And I tend to be a big picture person anyhow. I don't remember details of books or anything like that. But I do feel I remember the feeling or the vibe. And that one just felt so full of joy. It was great.
Nice. Mm-hmm. All right. Oh, you said you maybe had another one. I'll let you go again.
I mean, this one's just, I thought it hit on a different note. Like the Matt Redman episode was just so cool because being that we've been in this worship world for so many years, it was just neat listening to a legend. You
That's
know,
right.
it was great.
One of the things that came through from me, even in the Matt Redman episode, is you use the word legend.
Yeah.
There's a reason he's a legend,
Oh,
though.
he's so solid.
Yeah. His kindness came through.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. It wasn't, I don't know. He's such a name,
Mm-hmm.
and his songs are so good.
Mm-hmm.
I would almost give him a pass if he was a jerk.
Yeah.
But like there was nothing there that
No,
was
that's good.
anything but sweet.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you you did two, I'll do two.
Do too.
Yeah. My first one was actually the first episode of the year with Chris Lazar.
Oh man. Is there anybody cooler
No, listen.
on the planet?
No, I just think Chris is he's such a cool person. Like I would put that adjective with Chris.
Yeah.
He's a cool person. He has like an Indian motorcycle.
No, he's great.
He has this big long gray goatee. He always wears cool glasses. Always. And he just has his own thing in worship. Like one of the things that happens maybe now in modern worship is it's kind of like the Walmartization of worship. Everyone's just kind of the same, you know?
Not Chris.
Not Chris. Chris is his own thing. And that's just entirely refreshing. But beyond that, I love that episode because his tenderness comes through.
Yeah.
So Chris is a big person.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like 6'4", 6'5". He's just a big man. And it's really cool to see someone who is physically large and, maybe on the surface imposing, and he just has this tender energy that comes through. And it was really good. I remember recording that episode, and it was like a weepy episode. You may not hear it in the episode, but like Chris and I are sharing tears at lots of moments there. It was just, I don't know, special moment.
Yeah,
So
that was a good one.
shout out to Chris. Shout out to Southern California. I loved that one. And then my other one that I loved, and it might be my favorite podcast I've ever done, ever, which I didn't know that was going to be this way, right? Was with RT.
Oh my goodness. I loved that one.
I know. RT's like this Food Network lady, and she, she's Indian, but she lived in the Middle East, but she's also got like British roots, and then she lived in California. Now she's in North Carolina, and she works for the Food Network, and she's like a personality, right?
Oh, she's great.
But her energy was just incredible. And we accidentally, I knew I wanted to talk about this with her, but she went there with me in such a profound way. We started talking about really what I would call a theology of food.
Yes.
And it's deep and wide. And it's her infectious laughter is in this episode. And I just thought, there's maybe going to be another podcast that later will come that'll take the top spot. But that might be my favorite one.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
And she's like a TV person. She knew how to like do the podcast thing. It was great.
Yeah.
So good to listen to.
No, that's right. And by the way, just for those of you who are uncomfortable with me ranking things, one of the things you have to understand is I rank everything.
Everything.
I rank everything. So if I were to say RT is my favorite podcast that I've ever done with someone.
You rank good and bad. Like something isn't just bad, it's the worst.
That's right. I like to rank good and I like to rank bad. But also what I'm trying to say in this is RT can be my favorite, and it's no shade to anybody else, but I like to rank things. So anything else we need to add to that?
No. Those were 4 really good episodes. You should all go back and listen to them.
All right, let's move on here.
Okay.
Favorite records from this last year.
Well,
You can go first.
Okay, immediately I was going to hit the Kathleen Edwards one, but we talked about that last time. So
Yeah, but you know what? In case you haven't heard,
Total Freedom, Kathleen Edwards.
you need Canadian rocker. Shout out Canada.
I have not traditionally been a huge fan of this band, but I have very much enjoyed the new My Morning Jacket.
I want
the Waterfall too.
Okay, I want you to just eat it for a minute. Because I feel like you owe Jim James an apology.
Sorry, my fellow Kentuckian.
I know. I feel like you have been.
I have been
unfair.
Harsh. Yeah, I would give you that.
To My Morning Jacket in the past.
I'm apologizing.
But Waterfall 2 did it for you.
Or maybe they just got better.
I think that's also unfair.
It was I liked it, but I didn't at first. It's weird. It's a little bit weird.
No, it's a strange record.
Yeah.
But
But it grew on me.
I love it. Yeah, it's a great record. Favorite song on there?
Oh, I don't know.
Do you even know names of songs on there?
I just put it on. I cook food. I listen to music. That's how I do.
Shout out My Morning Jacket. Shout out Jim James. Come on the podcast.
They're listening.
That's right. Come on the podcast, Jim. Any other record that you wanna talk about at this moment?
I mean, isn't it great when an album that you love, a record that you think is awesome, is also your friend?
No, it's one of the very fun things that oftentimes happens with us is that we have some friends who are musicians, and I'm actually fans. I'm not just their friend, but I'm a fan. You know, knowing them doesn't diminish the art.
Right. And so, like John Mark's latest album, Peopled with Dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all of Andy's singles he's put out lately.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
They're great.
Juggernaut.
Oh, man. So good.
Yeah, come on. Shout out John Mark. Well, let me tell you my favorite ones. Actually, maybe I'm just going to mention one that's recent.
Okay.
The new War on Drugs live record. It dropped like last week.
I know it. I saw you post it. I haven't listened to it yet.
Oh, it's so good. And I normally hate live records.
Oh, yeah. You do have that thing.
I don't really love live records because sometimes I think what makes a great live moment doesn't always make a great recorded moment because I sometimes think, at least with a live performance, what makes a great live performance is someone who goes all in. And by all in, I just mean energetically, they're so into the moment and you can kind of be over the top.
And it works there, but maybe doesn't translate. Yeah.
Or even maybe it works in that moment in the live performance, but I don't want to hear that every time.
Yeah.
You know, it's not as nuanced. It's hotter, so to speak, you know? And the new War on Drugs record, oh my goodness, it is so good. So
why is it different? What is it?
I don't know. I mean, they're kind of a jam band anyway, and I don't know. I love the rhythm section. The guitar playing is sick. I actually think the vocals on it are better than usual. I think maybe ticking the energy up just a little bit helps them. I don't know. I'm a fan. Been listening to it for over a week. I'm going to be deep into this record for more than a minute. And I'm just now coming back to listening to music, so it's nice.
Well, you know what is going to make our list next year?
What's that?
Here's a little shout out.
Shout out.
Glenn Yoder's album's coming out.
Glenn, release the record! My God, release the ding dang record, Glenn.
Yeah.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Glenn is our worship pastor here.
Yep.
And you should look him up on Instagram, Mr. Yoder. He's brother to Silicone Boone, Sam Yoder. The Yoder brothers are part of our church, and they're just ridiculous.
Wildly talented.
Wildly talented. Glenn has a record. He's been sitting on this record for almost 4 years.
The world needs it.
Glenn, release the record.
It's so good.
Yes, it's so good. And it's like shoegaze pop, sparkle pop, guitar pop. It's candy, hard rock candy for your ears. Glenn, release it.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
that'll be, we'll get to talk about it next year, won't we?
You know.
I'll put him on the podcast.
Absolutely.
All right. Oh, yeah, one more I want to mention. Was there another one you wanted to mention?
No.
One more I wanted to mention. It's not even a record, it's just a single.
Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to say, shout out to Andy Squires.
Man.
I love all of his singles, but his single, Dead Horse.
So good. We were just listening to it a minute ago.
It's so beautiful. That opening piano line. I don't know, Matthew, did you write that? If you did, my goodness, so beautiful. But that song in particular, I think that's peak Andy Squires.
So Andy.
Bring the melancholy, baby. All right, let's shift gears again.
Okay.
Favorite moment of 2020?
Okay.
Highlights in a plague year. We're not going the lowlights.
Right.
So favorite moment in 2020?
Well, it seems counterintuitive, but the first 2 weeks of the little shutdown where we weren't quite sure what was going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, those were pretty awesome at home.
No, they were magical, but I also think it's kind of funny. You and I were talking about this, and I before we turned the microphones on, and I was like, we should talk about our favorite moments of 2020. And you were like, the first 2 weeks of quarantine were pretty good. I'm like, wow. Some major endurance there, babe. The first 2 weeks were great.
Yeah, tapered off after that.
Yeah, went downhill fast. Week 3 went to hell in a handbasket.
Well, it just became a new normal. But the first 2 weeks, maybe the second week in particular, because the first week we were still trying to get our footing and is everything coming back online? We don't know. But that, like when we settled in, we're like, okay, we're going to be at home for a little while. And one thing you need to know, this is side note, me and Adam are not actually great planners, or maybe we just don't like to, as far as things like we don't meal prep.
No, I would rather die than meal prep.
We usually decide about 4:30 what we're going to have for dinner.
That's right.
One of us runs to the grocery store.
That's right.
Yeah, that's how we roll.
That's our energy.
So we were forced to think ahead and like have groceries at home and not leave. It was weird at first.
It's weird because I don't stay home.
No, he can't stand it. He's got ants in his pants.
Yeah.
And so then we were like at home. Our groceries were there. Our kids were there. We had no excuse to run around.
Yeah.
And it was kind of great.
Yeah, I would use even the word magical.
Yeah.
I look back on those 2 weeks ago. That was magical.
I mean, other than the
yes, all of that.
overarching theme of
Yes, yeah. We're talking
sadness.
highlights here.
Okay.
Highlights.
Yeah, those were good moments.
Yeah.
Like we sat outside and ate dinner, and we did we couldn't go to the gym, so we did all of our little workouts together as a family in the yard.
Yeah, we were just swinging kettlebells.
Borrowed equipment from our local gym and did our little workouts. It was so fun.
Yeah, so fun. I mean, I know that this is probably not an original thought. I also know it's an impossible thought. But I'm just of the opinion that I think every year the world should completely shut down for 1 month.
We've been talking about that like the air cleared up.
The air cleared up. Like
animals,
the smog went out of LA. The manatees came back to Florida.
Yeah,
like, why can't the world just be like, we're just going to take August. August is a terrible month, at least here in Kentucky, right? Like,
yeah, no, it is.
I mean, or October. October's an amazing month. Why don't we just take October off?
Yeah. It'd be like the Sabbath of the year.
Yeah, a little Selah.
Yeah.
I think even atheists would be down for that.
I think so. What was your highlight?
Highlight of the year. My highlight of the year were our mountain biking trips to Western North Carolina. And I know some people are probably listening to this going, what, you traveled? Yes, we did. We traveled. We went to Western North Carolina. We camped. We rented Airbnbs. We didn't have to see anybody. It was very safe. We washed our hands.
We took our groceries with us.
And when we had to stop for gas, we washed our hands.
And wore our masks.
And we wore our masks. Yes, we did. Even when people in East Tennessee didn't have their masks on, we would wear our masks. But that's not the point of this segment.
Yeah.
Our mountain biking trips to Western North Carolina. If you guys don't know this, Western North Carolina is like a gem of the East Coast. Mm-hmm. It's not like the Rocky Mountains. It's not Southern Utah. It's not epic in that way. It's something different. And it has world-class mountain biking. And the vibe is so good. Like Brevard and Asheville and that whole area in the Blue Ridge Mountains. I don't know. I just think it's, again, I'm using this word, it's magical.
Yeah, no, it was really fun. Like we went for our anniversary in May.
Yes.
And we stayed in a tent, which we have never done.
I can't believe you did it.
I actually enjoyed it.
I know you did.
It was even raining the whole time.
I know. It was great. It was a blast.
Yeah. And then we took the family back down a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
And all of us, even the little one.
Yeah.
And we had a great time.
Amen.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay. Let's move on here again. Favorite hobbies from the year. But before we talk about like ours, maybe we'll just talk about some of the stuff we saw other people doing this year.
Sourdough bread.
Everybody was making some sourdough bread. Everybody's a baker.
Everybody's a baker. Gardening.
Hang on just a second. I do want to shout out to the bakers. Again, I just think you guys should keep posting your bread on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like you did it. You were doing real good. All the bakers were doing real good. You were baking and you were posting about it.
Do you mean like real bakers or like the people who just started baking?
I mean, the people who just started baking. I mean, real bakers can do it as well. That's fine. I just think that, you guys were so strong in showing us your sourdough bread. Showing us your sourdough bread. Like, let's have some more of that back into the feed because honestly, I could do without some of the selfies. Let me have some of the sourdough bread.
It's true. Show me your hobbies.
Yeah, I want to see that you've gotten better. Show me your flaky crust.
First round. Let's see how you've improved.
Yes.
No,
anyway.
sourdough bread. People did gardening. People made kombucha. people.
There was some kombucha making going around. Yeah.
What else? Lots of cooking.
Yeah. Did any of you kombucha makers, do you like to handle the SCOBY?
Oh, gross.
Ooh.
What else were hobbies?
Oh, I mean, I saw people doing plants. It seems like this was a year where people were like, filling up my house with plants. And I'm very into greenhouses. And
are you mocking that? Because that's on my list.
No, I'm not mocking it. I'm just saying, it's like, it's a thing.
And it makes our home feel better, doesn't it, Adam?
No, I love it. I think it's great. I wish there were more of it.
Really?
Yeah.
We'll talk about that after this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, let it happen.
All right, so what's your hobby?
Not my hobbies. I just want to say one more. It does seem like my Instagram feed was also more filled with ladies who were like knitting things.
Yeah, crocheting things.
Yeah, isn't that a thing right now?
Yeah, I think so.
I have
maybe
no
just
interest.
Our friends.
I have no interest in that whatsoever, but I do see people making things.
Yeah.
Is it called macrame?
I don't know. Well,
is that a thing?
Some of it is. That is a thing.
Okay, yeah. I feel like I saw more of that this year. People were at home and they were like,
Our daughter started tie-dyeing.
I know. People are just doing stuff.
Yep.
Casey's calling us on the phone right now. But we're not talking because we're making a podcast, Casey.
Hey everyone, quick producer's note. You would think after recording over 100 Ferment episodes that Adam would remember to put his phone on Do Not Disturb, but I guess not. All right, back to the show.
All right. My hobbies this year, favorite hobbies, it's just mountain biking and trail building.
Yeah.
Like I'm dreaming of ways to not work so I can go ride my mountain bike and trail build.
He is not lying, my people.
My people.
He, every day, how can we make this happen? How can this be my life?
Yeah.
Can I start a YouTube channel?
I'm telling you, man, I've been so inspired. There's an entire world out there, for those of you who don't know. There are just dudes who ride mountain bikes and they have YouTube channels and that's literally all they do. They're bike bums. I'm blown away by this.
Yeah, but I think there's that with everything.
No, there is. I'm just saying this is the corner of the YouTube that I know about.
It's so funny.
Yeah. So that's my hobby. What about your hobby for this year?
Well, I wrote down plants, Adam.
Oh, nice.
I have very much enjoyed taking care of our plants in our house.
Yes. What is that one little plant you had that it was not doing real well, and then it kind of took off?
The string of bananas?
The string of bananas. It was just not doing so well for a long time, and then it kind of turned around and got it together.
I killed our string of pearls.
Yeah?
But then we got this little one called the string of bananas, and it looks really good. Now we need the string of dolphins.
Oh.
Ooh.
Nice. Let's have it.
Christmas.
Also, it seems like there's some of those snake plants in our house. That's the thing, right? They don't need light.
Yeah, that's the one you want me to bring to your office. Right?
I need one in my office because don't they purify the air?
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. I don't know if I believe any of that, but
I think
it's like essential oils, you know?
Coffee.
Coffee. What about coffee?
That has been another fun hobby. We have been.
Yeah.
We love coffee anyhow.
Clearly.
Shout out Hardin Coffee.
Shout out Hardin Coffee. Shout out brother-in-law.
Yeah. But also we're home a lot, made a lot of coffee.
Ordered some coffee. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sampled coffee from our local roaster. Sampled coffee from around the country.
Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah. I got to say, the Hardin Coffee single origin Ecuador.
Oh, man. Unreal.
That's some good stuff right there. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would like to do that with tea. I just don't know enough about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just not English enough for that.
I love tea, but I end up just buying, peppermint. But I know there's a whole world out there. That should be our next Play Gear endeavor.
That's right. I don't know. I'll let you do it and you can tell me about it.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay, let's switch gears again.
Okay.
Since we've all been doom scrolling,
That's a great one.
I know, I love that. I ran across that a couple months ago, and I've been enjoying that particular little turn of phrase. But since we've all been doom scrolling, what's your favorite Instagram account these days?
Easy. New York Times cooking.
New York Times cooking. Why is that a good?
I don't know. They gather recipes from lots of different chefs and people and cookbooks, and they are, first of all, beautiful. And I don't know, they're great. And then in the comments, there's all these people who have tried it, and they'll say, oh, try this, add this, substitute this. It's a great little follow.
Is there a cooking Instagram for people who are more conservative?
Oh, my gosh. We're not going to make New York Times cooking
Yes, it's political. They're leftist. It's communist.
Oh, my gosh.
And none of their recipes can be trusted.
Please.
I'm not editing that out. We're keeping it.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, my favorite Instagram account, I post about it a lot. Or I add it to my story.
Yes, you do.
Rick Rubin.
Yep. As soon as that's, yeah.
Come on. And I love that he follows no one. And if you go look at his account, there's only one post. He deletes them after one day.
That's so weird.
I know, it's so weird. It's a little self-indulgent. It's a little self-important. But I kind of like it. I kind of like it. I'm like, that's some real confident energy. I kind of dig that. And it's like, if you don't get on that Rick Rubin train and follow along, it ain't there tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know? So you got to go back to that account. He might say something that'll change your life.
I don't even know who he is.
He's a producer.
Of what? Like movies?
No, he produces records, like really famous records, like so many records, and it's of all genres. So he did like early 80s hip hop. He sort of is. Is
he also the podcast that you love?
Yes, very much so. Oh my gosh, I'm deep in that. But Rick, early 80s hip hop, one of the major influencers, oddly enough. But then also produces Tom Petty's Wildflowers. But then also produces like Johnny Cash before he dies. Mm. So Rick is no joke. And I enjoy his Instagram account.
Okay, good.
It's kind of like Zen chill, and it's very odd. So I dig it.
Good combo. Zen chill odd.
Zen chill odd. Woo!
Next highlight.
Yeah, next highlight. What's your favorite Vineyard Worship single from this year?
Familia, hands down.
Familia. That came quick.
Man, I love that song.
All right.
I have from the moment that you played me the little, remember we were sitting outside and you played me the little scratch track. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, I always play the early stuff for Heather.
Yeah, and I was like, oh man, it got in my head. It was so good. Yeah. My kids love it, and it's just an earworm.
It is. Shout out, Tina.
Mm-hmm. Great job.
Good job, Tina. Mm-hmm. My favorite Vineyard Worship single this year, shout out, Andy. I love Cherry Blossoms.
Oh, so good. I actually had a hard time choosing. I mean, Familia is number one.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know. There was a lot of really great songs this
year. There's some strong
Sons
contenders in there. But I love Cherry Blossoms. And
we played it so much that our kids were like, oh my gosh, this song
Yeah, no,
again.
the kids want to kill us. They don't ever want to hear it again.
Sorry, Andy.
But that's kids. They move on.
Jerks.
Okay, hey, let's switch gears again. Favorite podcast from this year, not the Ferment.
Oh,
So what's your second favorite podcast?
Well, I feel a little bad because I do like a lot of crime podcasts.
Oh, yeah. Before we get into that, since you mentioned crime podcast, if you guys have not listened to the podcast Bardstown, dude, you have to listen.
Insight into where we live.
Yeah, it's only like 40 miles from here, and it's one of the freakiest stories I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Woo!
But I tried to maybe not do my crime ones. There's this one called Reply All.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I like it. I just like it. It's really good.
You don't have to justify it.
Okay, I like it. I like
you
Reply All.
Nice. Anything else you want to put on the list from this year?
Oh man. Okay, I'll tell you one fun little crime one. This one isn't too bad. There's one called Criminal. And
that sounds like the worst.
It's not. Dr. Death's the worst, and it's great. But Criminal is it's a really fun one. I don't know. Every episode is a different story. A lot of them are like historic, like old time crimes or schemes, or it's great.
Okay,
D.B. Judge is the host.
My favorite podcast from this year it's the Broken Record podcast. That's Malcolm Gladwell and Rick Rubin, and oftentimes Rick Rubin's on there. And then there's this third guy who's sometimes a host, and he's fine. I don't really like him.
That's the one you and your sister talk about all the time, right?
Yeah, Amanda and I, we talk about this, and then her husband Eric and I, we talk about this. I've got another text thread. We talk about this as well. But Broken Record, shout out to Broken Record. Yeah. And there's 2 episodes I want to tell you about.
Okay.
There's a lot of good episodes.
Okay.
But there's one in particular with Tom Petty's daughter. So it's Rick Rubin, and he's interviewing Tom Petty's daughter. And it's kind of about the re-release of Wildflowers, and it's like this expanded edition. But she tells some stories about her father, and I don't know. There's just some beautiful energy in there because she's somehow able to be candid about her dad in a really sweet kind of like daughter way. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, she doesn't lie about her dad.
Man, that's cool.
She's able to say, well, yeah, he was a very imperfect person in sort of this way. But then she's able to just see his weakness and not, I don't know, there's no bitterness in it.
That's cool.
It's very good.
Man, that's great.
So I was listening to it just thinking, oh.
Is she a musician too?
No, she's like a filmmaker, I think.
Oh, cool.
But I listened to that, and I was very inspired, not just by the Tom Petty part, but I think I was mostly inspired by the way in which she remembered her father and spoke about him. And I thought, that's something I could get better at. I could get better at handling people's weakness in a way that doesn't like bring them shame or even, cloud the genius.
Man, that's cool.
Yeah. So I thought that was great. And then another podcast there that I loved off of the Broken Record was the episode with Lenny Kravitz. And maybe that's just because I'm a 90s kid.
Oh, man. I used to love him.
Well, he's a very handsome man.
He really is.
Lenny Kravitz. He's probably still handsome.
I haven't seen a picture of him in ages.
Yeah. But anyway, the episode with Lenny is like pure 90s California energy. Uh-huh. And I really like it. And he tells a story at the end that I'm not going to retell right here because I want you to go listen to it. But it has to do with something in his life. And it has to do with him really meeting Johnny Cash and June Carter. And it's just great.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think it's the very definition of Christian.
Okay.
Like, you want to hear a gospel story outside the Bible. So Lenny tells this story, and I think it's the gospel outside of the Bible.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So there you go.
I'll listen.
Awesome. Hey, let's do a couple more questions.
Yeah.
This has made me looking ahead a little bit. Looking ahead. What do you want for Christmas? Because I need to know.
A string of dolphins.
I'm hoping you're talking about the plant.
Not a real dolphin. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. See, that's a hard question for the mom.
Why is that a hard question? I have a list.
You keep a list. Maybe it's not for the mom. Maybe it's just a hard question for me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That is literally the lamest answer you can have. What do you want for Christmas? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. How old are you? 89 years old?
Okay.
I just wanna see my family. We've seen them all year long. What do you want for Christmas?
See, I guess I'm just not as materialistic as you, Adam.
I will admit,
you love stuff.
I love stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't love just any stuff. I love good stuff.
Yeah.
I would rather have one good thing than 10 okay things.
Whatever. You have a list of like 20 good things.
I know. I have a big list.
You'd rather have 20 good things.
I would, of course I would rather. Do you understand how good I would be at being rich?
Okay. So just.
I would be the best rich person ever.
So I have to tell you guys a little something about Adam. He does love good things.
Yes.
And he does buy me very nice gifts.
Yes.
That are absolutely 100% never wrapped and never given on the appropriate day.
Never.
No.
I've never given you a gift on the right day.
If he orders me a pair of shoes and they come in 3 weeks before my birthday, he will hand me cardboard box.
Yeah, but I had to this time because they put this thing in the bag that says, you only have like 14 days to get this back to the warehouse or we're going to not give you your money back if they don't fit. And I thought, man, and I ordered them early, which is not really what I normally do because I was just afraid because of like COVID and Amazon and everything. I just thought, gosh, they'll never get here.
Yeah. So, but Adam has never wrapped a present.
I don't wrap.
No. Or even like taking it out of the like shipping bag.
Usually not.
They're always good though.
Yeah, I get you great things.
You really do.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you want for Christmas, Adam?
No, you still haven't answered the question.
Well,
like besides a dolphin plant, what would you like to have?
I mean, I always love a good white Bordeaux.
Now you're talking.
Okay.
I'm putting that down. In fact, the sound you hear on the podcast right now?
Is that your pen?
That's my pen writing down white Bordeaux. You heard it here first, kids.
Oh my goodness.
That's easy.
There you go.
Anything else?
No,
Okay.
I don't know. Instagram knows. Just ask Instagram. They
No.
feed me things and I'm like, oh, I didn't know I couldn't live without that.
No.
There is a pan that they keep showing me by a company I've never heard of. Probably doesn't even really exist. And I think I can't live without it.
Yeah.
So maybe just go on my Instagram. They'll tell you all the things I need. Those algorithms are on point.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay. The robots are still winning, kids. Okay, what do I want for Christmas?
Yes, Adam, what do you want for Christmas?
I want the vaccine. I want the vaccine. I want them to shoot it in my neck.
Oh,
Can I get it?
He's getting fired up now, guys.
I want the vaccine. As soon as I can get the vaccine, I want the vaccine.
Yeah, all the people who are very cautiously like, I'm going to wait. Not Adam. Adam is like,
I'm done with Corona. Guys, I'm over it. Give me the vaccine. That's what I want for Christmas.
Well,
I want a tiny vial at 80 below zero wrapped in a Lexus bow underneath the tree.
oh my gosh. What's your second choice?
My second choice is a new Carhartt jacket. If I can't get the vaccine, just give me a Carhartt jacket.
Oh my gosh. I posted.
Maybe some high quality vitamin D, from the health food store, some of the good stuff. None of that Walmart junk,
Oh my gosh. I posted a picture of you the other day in your new Carhartt hat.
Oh, I love my Carhartt hat.
You don't know how many people hit me are like, what is happening to Adam? Is he like turning all country during quarantine?
No, I've been on the
Farming?
farm. I've been farming, guys.
Well,
I've been out in the land. I've been building I speak for a living. I've been building mountain bike trails. I'm out in the woods.
okay. So Carhartt jacket it
I want a
is.
Carhartt jacket,
All right.
but like a rugged one.
What other kind is there?
No, I'm just saying I want.
Not the evening wear? The
No,
Carhartt-
I don't. Some of them, they've become a little, I don't know, a little soft. I feel like I want a rugged one, but I don't want that. I don't want that barn jacket one that has no lining. I want one that has. I need one with lining
Like that has like the horse blanket looking lining.
maybe that. I mean, because I get cold. I'm tender. But what I want the vaccine.
I feel like your listeners are finally getting a little glimpse into what you're really like.
Dude, I want the vaccine though.
Okay.
Like, let's just be honest.
Okay.
A few minutes ago, I was on the phone with Jared Boyd. Shout out, Jared. And I told him I wanted the vaccine. I'm like, I'm seriously, they could put it in my carotid artery. Put that just right there. If I knew it was going to work.
Good grief.
I know. I'm being silly. But isn't it fun to be silly?
Oh my
I
goodness.
think it is. Okay, hey, serious question and then we'll be done.
Okay.
Because maybe it's the ferment and we're, sometimes we're serious. What have you learned this year?
How about you go first on this one? What have you learned this year?
Oh, I haven't gone first yet, so I don't know if
Nope.
I'm ready.
I'm flipping it.
You're flipping it. I guess the thing I've learned this year is life is fragile.
Yeah.
Yeah, life is fragile. So this time last year, everything's normal, or, at least normal in the way that we perceive normal, and things are going on. Like the economy's strong and our church is bigger than it's ever been. Like everything was amazing,
Yeah.
and kids were great. And then, one tiny invisible virus gets introduced into the system, something that our bodies are, have never seen and are maybe ill-equipped to deal with, things that your eyes can't see, and then the whole world shuts down. So we live with this idea that basically things are concrete or that things are the way they are. And the truth is, nothing is concrete, and something that seems fairly small can bring everything to a halt,
Yeah.
you know? So I think that's one of the things I've been thinking about this year is I'm more aware that life is really, really fragile.
Yeah. That's good. It's so true. I think something that I've learned.
That was great commentary. Great pickup commentary there, partner. That was so good. So good. Okay.
I don't know how to respond to that.
You can say anything.
Anything other than that?
I don't know.
Wow, Adam, your insight.
No,
really,
I don't even.
really
I'm not
does-
looking for you to stroke my ego. I'm just saying, like, this is a podcast. We talk, carry it on a little bit.
Wow, Adam, that's some great insight.
Oh, gosh. I've been carrying your stuff all afternoon on this podcast.
My God.
Okay, no, give us your serious stuff here. What have you learned this
Well,
year?
I've learned that my husband is challenging. I think I've learned that busy is not always better. Adam.
Whoa. I agree.
If 2020 has taught us anything, it's that busy is not always better. Because I put a very high priority on productivity and doing things and filling up my schedule and no spare time. And I mean, it's not healthy or good, but I've often equate that with, that being good.
Yeah, success or doing well means having a lot to do.
Yeah. And this year put, the brakes on everything. And it ended up, I realized that, I can actually do good things and be happy and actually create things and not always be feeling like I am, frantic and forgetting things. I don't know.
Having a little space doesn't mean you're failing.
Margins.
Yeah.
Margins are okay.
Yeah.
And it's probably a personality thing that
I think some of it's cultural too, because I do think we do the math in our culture that success equals busy,
Yeah.
or that successful people are generally unavailable.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have time,
Mm-hmm.
well, then that must mean, you're not in demand or you're unsuccessful or.
Yeah. So I looked back and at the beginning of the shutdown, I, had to quit my studio. I had to close my studio, quit teaching in-person classes. And I ended up starting a YouTube channel. And it was funny. It didn't take that much actual time filming or even editing. And it felt like it still was really successful. And it felt like I did something, but I wasn't, running around being crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I thought that was a good thing.
Yeah, busy is not better.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah.
and just to sort of like expand on that a little bit, it's okay to have some space in our schedule, and it might actually, having a little room or having a little margin might actually get you to the next thing, because
Yeah.
one of the things you haven't mentioned on this podcast yet is you did have an art studio.
Yeah.
You did close it down. I mean, we'll just kind of leave that there. That's sort of a low light.
Mm-hmm.
But then when that got shut down, you have this extra margin of space.
Mm-hmm.
You made a few YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
And then in that sort of downtime, you began to reimagine your life again.
Yeah.
And now you're back in school.
Well, one thing I've learned is I'm not great at math like I once thought I was. I'm in a math class that's not going so great. But yeah, I'm back in school.
Yeah.
And having that little bit of space, having that little bit of margin allowed me to think through what I wanted the next few years to look like.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah. And maybe that wouldn't have happened.
Oh, it definitely wouldn't have.
No, because you would have kept running the thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's a gift.
Yeah, that's good. I think one other thing that I've learned, and I know this is like personality, I don't know, Enneagram type, personality trait, whatever. But I often put a lot of stress on making sure, especially on a Sunday morning, I connect with everyone. And it's almost like I have this thing like, oh my goodness, people need me to check on them or touch base with them. And without our in-person church, I can't connect with everyone.
Yeah.
And it's been nice to be like, oh, I don't have to carry a weight that I didn't have to carry anyhow. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I felt like I carried some stuff that I maybe didn't have to.
That's right.
And to be like, okay, these are the families and the people that I need to reach out to.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be the whole world. And it's
Yeah.
been kind of freeing.
That's a good lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
It sounds a little prideful to be like, oh, I think everyone needs me. And then you realize everyone doesn't need you. And it's actually good.
yeah, I understand what you're saying there. And at the same time, some of it's just being a decent person
Yeah.
and looking out. But at the same time, you're right, it can become toxic. Even good things can become toxic.
Yeah. Because I really do love people and care about people. But I can stress myself out to a really unhealthy place.
Yeah. I mean, water is good, but you can drink enough of it to kill yourself, right?
Yeah, that's a weird thing.
It's a weird thing, isn't
Was
it?
that good commentary?
Oh, you're killing it now, babe. This is the interaction I've been looking for. Okay, hey, let's do one more sort of a riff on this question, then we'll wrap it. What have you learned about church this year?
Oh, man. I'll tell you one thing I have learned church is not.
What is church not?
Church is not YouTube. Like, it is not whatever we can do online. And I'm glad and very thankful for online platforms.
Yes.
And YouTube.
It's a gift.
And video.
Mhm.
And Facebook Live. I mean, all those things are great.
Yes.
They've been a good stand-in substitute for a temporary fix.
Yes.
They aren't church, though.
Yeah.
And it has made me really aware of, it's been kind of a trend lately anyhow for people to be like, oh yeah, I watched this sermon or I watched this famous preacher or I interact online and that's their, quote unquote church.
Yeah.
It's not church.
No, it isn't. I mean, part of what makes church, I mean, there's so many.
It's something. I'm not saying it's bad.
No, it is something.
I'm
And
just
praise the
saying
Lord for it. Like, we
is
needed
not
it.
an equal exchange with whatever in the world stuff we do here on Sunday morning or
Yeah.
home groups. And
All of that.
yeah, church really is about connection with people.
Yeah. I mean, the good news is a vaccine is coming. The good news is somehow we're going to get through all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully by this time next year, life will be kind of normal. I'm thinking it will be.
I mean, I hope so.
Please?
It's so weird. Do you remember back in March when we thought, oh man,
It'll be
I
2
can't
weeks.
believe this is going to last all the way until May.
What? Yeah, and here we are. No, but just to sort of riff on what you're saying there. Yeah, YouTube is not the same as real church. And, one of the real genius parts of church, especially like a located geographic body of people,
Mm-hmm.
is church brings you into contact with people you wouldn't choose to be with otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like there's something about church. The magic there is saying yes to Jesus also puts me in proximity with people that maybe I would never be friends with or just, never even know.
Yeah. And you can see, I mean, how in the present climate, it's so easy to break up into Camp A and Camp B on the internet.
Yeah.
And it's no different. Like,
Well, and this is one of the things that the internet does already. Like the robots they know a few things. They know what we like maybe even more than what we know.
our Christmas list.
They definitely know our Christmas lists.
Mhm.
But they know what riles us up,
Mhm.
and the algorithms know what can get a reaction out of us. And they also know what we like.
Mhm.
And so, if the name of the game is eyes on the screen or interaction with the app or whatever, one of the strategies is either to keep us riled up or to keep us locked in an echo chamber of the thoughts and ideas and people that we already agree with and know and like.
Mhm.
And I'm just pastorally, long-term concerned about people continuing to consume, and I'm going to use air quotes here, religious content. And I hate the word content, but religious content that doesn't challenge any of those.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about church is, like, when you come and you sit through a sermon, you probably won't necessarily resonate or agree with every single thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. If you come to church, you do it, something about
Mm-hmm.
being challenged pushes you to grow. But if you only listen to, the things you agree with.
Or even just your favorite famous preacher who lives halfway across the country. that you don't know, who's not responsible for you.
Yeah, so there's that. And then there's also just how much have we seen like the importance of people checking on each other.
Oh, it's essential.
Reaching out.
And it's essential, and reaching out is definitely more difficult when we're not sharing the space.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So digital church is not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a long-term stand-in.
And it's not bad,
No.
but it isn't the same thing.
And
so for as many faults
it's okay
as,
to be nuanced. That's great.
and for as many faults as church may have, like there is some real gold there.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what I've learned.
Okay.
I've learned that there are new people for every new season.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we've seen this year, we did a bunch of online church, and then 5 months ago we came back to meeting in person with reduced numbers, socially distanced, masked the whole time, which is very weird. But what's super crazy is
our church has added people.
We've added people, like people who didn't come here, who started coming during the pandemic. And it's just this very, very cool thing. Like Jesus is always drawing people to himself. And so even in a new season that's very challenged, there are people for the moment. Not only that, but just with all the things that we've had to do this year, every pastor, every worship leader, everybody who's part of church, you've scrambled, you've had to refigure out everything. You've had to refigure out how you do online stuff, how you present, maybe how to preach in front of a camera, which is the most awkward, god-awful, terrible thing ever, especially at the beginning. And one of the things that happens when you're trying to figure all this stuff out is that there are new people who kind of like percolate up through the system and go, oh, their gifts are just so
useful, right? Yeah.
Not only useful, but they're like ready for it,
Yeah. Yeah.
And then maybe other people who were so central to the way church was even just a few months ago, it's not like they're not important anymore, but they're just not the person for the season. And so maybe it's just Thanksgiving stuff or whatever, but I've been thinking about like some of the people who have helped us get through this year.
We're all thankful for Bobby this year.
Yeah, we're all thankful for Bobby. We're all thankful for the tech team, which at our church has grown this year, and the way that they've served and like helped us refigure out everything. And then just on a practical level, like I mentioned a moment ago, just new people came.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that's kind of a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's great.
So
it is great.
There you go. Hey, that was fun.
Yeah.
Hey, why don't you do this? If you're listening to the episode and if you've made it all the way to the end, why don't you go to the Instagram? Why don't you go to the Instagram and why don't you just answer any of the questions that Heather and I answered? Yeah. What's your favorite podcast? What's your favorite podcast episode on this podcast? What's your favorite record? What do you want for Christmas? Answer them all. Answer none of them. Answer one of them. We'd love to just see it in the comments.
Especially the podcast one, because I'm always looking for a good podcast.
Yeah, dude, just hop onto their. I cannot talk. Hop onto our Hop onto our Instagram and tell us some of your favorite things from this last year.
Yeah.
Highlights from a plague year.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Peace.
Bye.
Hi everyone, this is Melissa Keller, Events Director for Vineyard Worship. If you've been enjoying the podcast, I've got a couple of ways you could really help us. First of all, review the podcast on iTunes or the podcast platform of your choice. This helps more people find us. Also, connect with us on social media, Instagram at the Ferment Podcast and Twitter at FermentCast. Thanks for listening. See you next time.